Hi guys, today is Wednesday the 22nd of November and this is our team call. We're going to have a bit of a chat today and get a bit of a perspective from Carl. So Carl currently works for a different MLM, not Beachbody, but he's soon going to be joining Beachbody. But on our last call, we were talking about different perspectives, and people are coming into this business for a number of reasons. Everyone's got a different why. Some people are coming in it purely to build a business, some people because they really enjoy helping each other and helping other people and helping other people lead better lives, and some of us a mixture of the two. So we thought it would be great to get a perspective from Carl, and he's going to talk a bit about his experience. We're going to do a little bit on the kind of tips and whatnot, as from someone that's worked for an MLM on social media, but Carl had some specific things that he wanted to share about personal development and all of those sorts of things. So I'm going to hand over. If anyone has any questions at any point, please do unmute yourself and interrupt, but we will try and keep this call to no more than half an hour, if that's okay. Can you say all of this in that time, Carl? Is that all right?
Okay. Hi, guys.
I'll mute myself now, okay?
No
and I might interject with questions and stuff if that's
Please
all right.
do. Absolutely fine. I prefer that.
Okay, cool. Right, I'm muted so I can finish my dinner.
Enjoy. Okay, guys. I just wanted to introduce myself. I don't know, people know me, but people don't know me, whatever. So my name's Carl Marriott. Actually, my other half is in another MLM company, and we were doing it together. And we've had some good traction with that, and she's still going to carry on with that as well. And I'm still obviously going to help out, and of course I am. But I'm going to come over and do Beachbody as well, because I think having two is there are some issues actually, and I know Scotty's listening. I'm not sure quite how far they've got with exactly what you can and can't do with it. Some countries do have an issue with that, but we'll worry about that another time. But I just wanted to introduce my daughter. This is my daughter Amelia.
Hi.
She's 11 2 weeks ago, wasn't it? 2 weeks ago, a week and a half.
Yeah.
Ago. So father of one. So this is my reason for doing it. So right, you can go now. Go.
Yay.
Go. Okay.
I'm gonna take.
So basically, I've got dogs as well. You'll hear barking. I apologise. So I'm 40 years old. And me and my partner, who's not here, we got into MLM about sort of 2 years ago, and we went along to a presentation, not being told what it was. It was one of those kind of come along to something, and a little bit secretive, which is kind of a thing in MLM, which I don't agree with, but that's another story. Be proud of who you're working with. I think definitely. And as it happened, I'd had some sort of introduction to that company beforehand with something else, but I didn't really know much about it. I went to this presentation, and I kind of had that attitude initially that I'll take something along, I'll support the friend. Actually, she's a friend of my other halves, Sarah, and we'll sort of get in, help her out, get out as quick as possible without getting dragged into something we didn't want to get dragged into. So basically, I took some cash with me. But when we were there, it was really nice setting. We were just having a chat. It was a really relaxed evening. And the lady who was actually her sponsor asked me one of those questions. And it was a simple question: where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? And I'd never been asked before. I'd never even really thought about it, to be honest. I'd never done much forward planning. Although I had my own business, I'd never really done much forward planning. And I was quite successful. I was earning pretty good money. But when I thought about it, I really looked there and thought, actually, in 5 years' time, I'll be in the same position, still working 10, 12 plus hours a day, 6 days a week, and I'll be fine. But will I be any better? And that's the key question that got me involved into it. Sort of made me listen to what was being said, and actually made me think I need something else in my life to sort of move over towards. And that is the beauty of MLM. Is that you do it exactly alongside what you're currently doing, and you build something at your own pace. Some people are runners. There's a big sort of walkers, joggers, and runners. Some people are runners. Some people are walkers, and you want a bit of everyone in your team down the line. I was a jogger, I guess. I said I wasn't a runner, and it took me a lot of things to really understand what was happening and what was involved. And the biggest thing for me is I was in sales and project management, and I was very good at sales. I could do sales, and I actually thought that this was more sales based, and that I would be quite good at it. I really want to stress, and I can't stress enough, but MLM is not sales. 100% it isn't sales. It's you're getting yourself across. You're getting your passion across. You know, you want to be involved in something that you're passionate about, and we're obviously passionate about sort of keeping fit, etc. You know, and getting healthier and helping other people do that. And that is what we want to be selling, is ourselves and that passion. Nothing, not a product, not a service, not anything else. It's just that. So that is my biggest thing to get across to you, really, is that this is really not sales. And that MLM is the third of three different ways of getting things to market. Obviously, retail. Obviously, there's direct sales, which things like your Avon ladies that used to come around in your Tupperware and things like that, and you'd buy on the day. It's not that. That's something entirely different. We sell a business plan, really. And I'll come on in a second to kind of a bit more in detail in that. Excuse me. But that is something you've got to really just get your minds around, is that you're really not selling a product. You're just informing people and talking to people about your passion and hoping people buy into that effectively. So back to me again and my sales and what I was doing before, or what I had to come across. And I was possibly a little bit arrogant, I guess, in thinking obviously I could do it because I was in sales, but I was wrong. The other thing is the completely spiritual side of this business. It's really hard to explain. I had no spiritual kind of feelings going on. And the biggest thing I've learned is that I guess the universe has your back. And it's all about personal development and understanding really those things, I'm not sure how to put it exactly, but I would have laughed if before that people had said, affirmations and gratitude and even goals. I just didn't have any of them, and I was doing okay, but only okay. And then bit by bit, I started looking at the people who were doing well in that business and the people who were earning tens and tens of thousands of pounds a month. And they all did. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Miracle Morning, but I did actually get a copy I can show you here. But this is the Miracle Morning by it's Hal Elrod and Pat Petrini, because they've converted this for network marketers. So you can see that. It's based on the Miracle Morning, but it's been tailored towards network marketing. Something you absolutely should start doing, and again, it doesn't have to be the morning, but in the day. And it's affirmations, it's gratitude, what you're thankful for, grateful for, and sort of goal setting, and much, much more. But they're really the essences and things that I never ever did, and now start to do. I still feel weird saying affirmations. It totally weirds me out. But genuinely, what you put out there, you start seeing. And there's a bit of a, during trainings and things, people say, when you buy a new car, you start seeing that car everywhere. And it's only because that's what happens in your mind. And, you notice it. And that's exactly what it is. You start thinking about the things you want in your life and goals. You've got to put those goals in. They've got to be big, got to be imaginative, got to be out there. And, you really literally as big as you want them to be. Scotty will tell you, I think he's done some trainings before, what he earns these days. Chris made me do this today. Oh, I don't know. Oh, that was you. Oh, what did he make you do? Anyway, we'll come to that. Yeah. Oh, affirmations, I guess. But it's, yes, okay. But definitely part of the sort of goal setting and making it big, making it wild. So I say Scotty would have told you what I think he said, is it 6 or 7 years ago when he first started this business? He would never have dreamed that in 5 or 6 years' time he'd be sort of doing what he's doing, living the life he's earning and living right now. But it was goal setting. It's, you know, he probably wouldn't have set those goals for himself at that early stage, but now he's achieved it. So now this is what you've got to take that lead and set that big goal. If you want to be earning 50 grand a month in 6 years' time, set that goal and work backwards. Definitely. That's a big thing that I learned to do. And that they're the things that have changed my entire life and business and everything else. And the rest of personal development, we've got, I don't know, you can't see over there, I've got, I just counted actually, we've got 83 different sort of self-help books, of which I've probably read about 30 so far. So still a lot to read. One thing when you're reading books is definitely, is if it doesn't resonate with you, stop reading it. Stop and go on to another one and then come back to it, because it will resonate later. So definitely a little top tip there. And a few to start with. I don't know about where everyone is with their mindsets and things, but just to get you in the mindset of what can be achieved and out of the 9-to-5 job, which I know most of us are doing right now, but the concept really is to move beyond that. Things like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is Robert Kiyosaki and T. Harv Eker. When you actually watch him live, he's a little bit shouty for my liking. But Think and Get Rich, which is, you know, Secret to a Millionaire Mindset. Some brilliant stuff. There's some really good background books to start reading, just to open your mind up to what is actually possible. But then moving forward, you want to get into some more MLM stuff, and it's very specific. You know, the way you can do it. There's some really good training books. Eric Worre obviously is he's one of the main guys. So have you all read Eric Worre? Again, actually, I've not seen so much like book reading lists and things, which I did in my in the previous business. They had a lot of things structured there of books to read, when to read them, what to do. And GoPro by Eric Worre was we used to give them out to people the very first day. You know, as they sort of signed up, whatever, you'd give them a copy of that book to read. So definitely read GoPro. And a couple of other things to get your head around as well. Things like the compound effect, which I'm going to talk about in a second. But I think this is the key to all MLM businesses. It is the absolute thing that makes it real. So I'm going to sort of go on a bit more about that in a second. And this is my favorite right now at the minute, the 45-second presentation. It just takes away. So in the business I was in, we used to do these sort of 35, 45-minute presentations. People don't always want to see that. 45 seconds, they either want to know more or they don't. Simple as that. And then from there on, you can give them more. But that separates the wheat from the chaff in straight away. So back to what MLM kind of is and there. So we know there's the three types. There's retailing, direct sales, and then there's multi-level marketing. And multi-level marketing is effectively all about you talking to somebody else, introducing that business, but the business, not really the products. The retail side of that business is really quite small. And you should pick up that retailing business on the back of talking about the business. So I feel, and it's something that I struggled with, I sort of went out trying to sell stuff to people, you know, look, it's great, magic, use it, you'll be wonderful and look 10 in a week's time. And it's not how it works. You've totally got to go out there. That was my salesman in me. That was my, you know, put me in a retail shop and I could have sold tons of this stuff, way more than I actually probably have sold doing it this way, but that's not how it works. You've got to do the business. And now the compound effects kicked in and it's now bigger. So just want to try and get your heads around the compound effect in a very simple way. And again, actually, I need a bit more training to do with Beachbody at some point, and still trying to struggle with the binary system and where people go inside of things. The one we had previous had layers as wide as you like. So it doesn't translate 100%, but you'll get the idea effectively. If you sponsor 2 people and then teach those to sponsor 2 people, after 4 generations of that, you end up with 31 people, including yourself, in your team. But if you can teach them to do 1 more, that's 3 people at a time, and 4 generations, you end up with 90 people. 121 people, sorry, it's 90 difference. If you can teach them to do 4 or get 4 people sponsored and teach them to get 4 each, at four generations down, that's 341 people. That's 310 difference. And if you can teach 5 people at 4 generations down, it's 781 people, including yourself. And that's 749 difference. And that is the key. The difference is 3 people, effectively. By getting 5 and teaching 5, for instance, you're doing that. And if you do 6, do 6. There's a lot of education around how many people you can actually educate at one point and dedicate your time to. And the magic number seems to be 5 from different places I've heard. So get 5 when somebody can look after themselves. And it's 4 generations deep, and I'll explain that in 1 second why. Once you got into 4 generations, it's then it's duplicated, and it then becomes self-generating. You don't need to be involved in the 5th generation. They know how to do it. So that's one of the things as well, which comes into that whole compound effect and what I've learned from the numbers. So I'm a bit of a numbers guy, actually. I don't know if I'm going off track myself. I don't know if you know the 4 groups, the color code groups of what people do. I've got a big chunk of green in me somewhere. Yeah, a big chunk. And oh, sorry, Jackie, what do you struggle with? I missed that. Tell me what you struggle with. I was talking, I wasn't watching. And yeah, I did a lot of this by explaining the numbers to people, and that's how I've actually got some of my people on board, not because they really cared about the product particularly, but they could see the business in getting numbers. And if you can just get 5 people who get 5 people, you're at 781 in 4 generations. That is the key to this business. It really is all of that. And it's not really about whether it's Beachbody or whether it's one of the 730 companies I think there are in the UK currently under the Direct Selling Association. But they're all essentially the same in that you just want to sponsor people, teach them, and this is how you do. So you basically got to teach your person how to teach their person how to sponsor. Does that make sense? So you got to teach, you got to get someone on board, then you got to teach them to sponsor. Then when they get someone trying to get someone on board, you got to teach them how to teach them to sponsor. And then once you've got that far and they're bringing people in that 4th generation, you're out of the loop. It then comes from them. So they're then teaching them how to sponsor that next person. And then that's when it can grow. So when you've done that, they come out of your 5 and you can go and find a new 5 or a new person, and off it goes. It becomes just gigantic. And again, I think I was talking to Scotty while he was here. And I think he mentioned, I don't know, he might get me wrong, I think there was something like 40,000 people in his downline. Does that sound right? I think that's what he told me. And you think, how many has he spoken to directly? How many names can he possibly know out of that 40,000? Not that many in reality. He's been in it a while. He's got a nice broad thing, but it really isn't as many as certainly 40,000. So that's one of my things that I had to really get my head around, was the maths of it and how simple the maths are. And don't get me wrong, it's still not easy. But if you can, I was going to use the word convince. I don't want to use the word convince because we're not in the convincing business. We're in the educating business. We tell people and let them make their own decisions. But if you can show them this maths and how that they only need 5 people, but they don't need to be salespeople either. You're not trying to recruit people who want to go out and sell the product. They just need to find 5 people. Can they find 5 people in their, time period to do the same thing and teach them to do it to 5 other people? And that's what it is. That's their MLM. That's the biggest things I've learned. And consume the product. You've got to be a product of the product. And that's where the social media comes in, because that is what you're showing people now. You're not meeting people like you used to meet people 20 years ago before mobile phones. I was having this conversation, some of you are a bit younger. Hannah's way younger. My daughter's obviously had a mobile phone for about a year or more, or whatever, about 6 months. I don't know. And now, but you talk to everyone on your phone, don't you? You don't even speak to people. She's texting people when they're at school together. They're still at school together. She's texting people.
I'm not.
Yeah, you
That's
are.
usually only if they take a video of me and then they have to send it to me.
Yeah. But that's the future. It literally, talking is much less. So social media is one of the big keys. Now, me and Hannah, bad grammar, Hannah and I, we were having a chat today about the use of Instagram, because Facebook is, I don't want to say it's had its day, because it's still huge, it's still massive. But I think as a lead generation tool, it's having its day a little bit because it isn't searchable. Whereas Instagram with the hashtags is. So I think we need to do some very specific training on particularly Instagram and LinkedIn and how we make them work, rather than, but alongside this, just for ourselves. I think we need to get more involved in that. So maybe that's something we do is much more specific stuff. But I did a lot of work on YouTube as well. And again, YouTube is owned by Google, but YouTube is the second largest search engine behind Google, and they're obviously both owned by Google. So you can put anything you want in there, and you will search. You'll get a list of results. So by being smart and meta tagging or data tagging the right phrases and the right things, what people search for, and there are tools out there that can help you find those keywords. We can really tailor it to a new market, and people can find you, which is something that doesn't happen on Facebook. When you do Facebook Live, I love a Facebook Live, but when you do a Facebook Live, you're only actually really meeting your friends. And until people comment on it, if it's on your own personal profile, only a few friends of theirs are seeing it. But Instagram and YouTube, it's completely, anyone can find it. And LinkedIn as well. I've started doing a lot of work on LinkedIn because you can search for people. So, I should have said this earlier. Who's done the avatar? Anyone? Does anyone know what I'm on about? You've got your avatar. We spoke about this before, didn't we? So you've got to have an avatar, which is your single person who is your perfect customer, your perfect client. And I think, as we both found out before, and it's pretty much you a few years ago before you got boring and middle-aged and started doing stuff like mortgages and stuff. It's the things you would tell yourself maybe, from a few years back. But you've got to give them a real life. They've got to be, you've got to know where they live, who they're married to, or girlfriend, boyfriend, parents, sister, brother, how much they earn, what job they've got, what car they drive, how they get to work. All of those things you've got to put into a couple of pages. So my avatar is about 2 typed A4 pages long, of exactly who that person is. And for some reason they're called Steve. I don't know why. What was your name? You picked one, Hannah. I can't remember what it was. You picked a name, didn't you?
Yeah, mine's called Stephanie. Really quite British as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Mine's Steve. So it's kind of weird. But you've got to get that in place, and that is the person you're looking for on things like LinkedIn. You can search for those job roles and similar job roles to your avatar. You can search for areas where they live, and that might be sort of local to you, but maybe the more affluent areas as opposed to the poor areas. But then also the poorer areas, because those people need businesses like this. But you can really get right in there with LinkedIn and really find out what it is you want to be doing and who you're targeting. So we need to do more on LinkedIn, more on Instagram, more on YouTube. And I live with we've got a young lady who rents the room, and our spare room, and she Snapchats everything. I have no idea about Snapchat. Literally means nothing to me. I don't get it. But she takes a picture, well, not a picture, like a little 10-second video, and just Snapchats it. I'm like, I don't even know who you're Snapchatting to, or who's seeing it, or whatever. But I keep appearing in these random videos doing stupid dances, but they get to people. People are seeing it. So if you can make them relevant, people are seeing it. But don't be boring. Be you. You've got to be you. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. I think without going too much into too much detail about the social media stuff we've really got to be doing, I want to say to those people who have never done MLM before, and are a little bit sort of daunted by it, or I've spoken to a few people and they've had a load of no's. It's not a problem. You're going to get loads of no's, but you've got to get your mindset into these things. So things like the Miracle Morning, so the gratitude, the affirmations, and set some big, leery goals. Just do it. Write it down. Have a thingy board, vision board. Well, you can't see mine. Mine's over the back there. Where do you want to live? Where do you want to go on holiday? Who do you want in your business? What car do you want to drive? Anything that you want in your life. I used to fly airplanes, and I want to fly helicopters, but it's about £40,000 just to start. But on my board is me flying a helicopter. Trying to think what else on there. There's other bits, family. If you're not married, who's your perfect man, woman? What you're looking for? Affirmations. If you are married, you'd be a perfect woman still, maybe. You never know. It's all good. So just it's the mindset you've got to change before you do anything else with this business. And personal development is the key to that. I read for between 20 and 30 minutes a day, every day, a part of a book, or listen to an audio for about an hour. I'm in the car for quite a bit. I don't know who commutes or whatever. An hour in the car, whilst rather than listening to the radio and the same old song going round and round and round, stick an audio on, an audio book. They're much quicker, but you need to listen to them more often because you don't take in the information like you do when you're reading. But you can get through them much quicker. So Audible or whatever else there is out there for that sort of thing. I use Audible. Just download all these books. You get a free one every month. You should really get through a couple of books a month. Is a good sort of pace. And if you want a reading list, I've got some really good reading lists for MLM. So if you want to contact me on Facebook, most of you probably got me on Facebook or can find me through the groups. I'm more than happy to give out those. And some really good starting ones. But yeah, things like Rich Dad Poor Dad and A Secret to a Millionaire Mindset, they really open you up to where you can go. It's very easy to have the mindset of not being worthy of more and not being, stuck in your 9 to 5. If you're earning £35,000-40,000 a year, and that's it's a good wage, but it's easy to think that's all you're ever going to earn. With this, you can be earning that a month inside of 5-6 years, like Scotty did. So you just have to be consistency. I didn't even touch consistency, did I? Oh, what time is it? It's nearly 1:30. It'll be 1 minute for consistency.
Yeah.
The biggest thing, actually, it's actually even bigger than everything else, is doing something every day and just being consistent. If you spend an hour a day on a business like this, you can build a big business. But you've got to be consistent. You've got to put it in your diary. You've got to diarize it, make the time for it, and be committed and get out there. And whether you're meeting people, you're talking to people on social media, use Zoom, use Skype, use FaceTime, use all these things we've now got on. Oh, hang on, someone's ringing me. It's my other half. Checking if I've made dinner, probably. So, so be consistent, 100%. That is the absolute key. If you aren't consistent, nothing's happening. Mindset is key, and well done. Compound effect is paying off. Got a job offer, and we're one step further along in getting our own place. Nice one, Anne.
Well done, Anne. That's amazing.
You want to drive an Aston Martin, Jackie? Then that's it. But have you got a picture of it on your board? Have you got a vision board? Can you unmute Jackie?
Yeah.
Oh, go on, Jackie. Have you got a vision board?
Vision board? Yes.
And they got an Aston Martin on there?
And I want to fly a helicopter.
Yes. Let's do it. You've got to have it all out there. You've got to see it every day. You've got to know why you're doing this business. You've got to be able to see what you do. I didn't touch meditation because some people that's a little bit woo-woo. But I would have told you that. I'd have laughed at you 2 years ago for meditation. Like, I don't get it. I love it. I sit there and do 10 minutes at least. Just calm, breathing, thinking drifting in and out of the things I want. So I look at my mood, I keep calling it a mood board, but my vision board, and my mind drifts in and out of inner consciousness, and then when it drifts off to things I want, and that becomes in my subconscious. Anything else, Jackie? Come on, hit me with your number one thing. What do you do?
How do you start talking to people?
Depends on 100 different ways. Are you using social media, or are you trying to do directly?
I've been using both.
Okay, so there's a bit of a thing about sort of what was attraction marketing is kind of and it's now curiosity marketing. You want to make people a bit curious of what you're doing, but genuinely, when you're face to face, the best thing you can do is just ask them what they do for a living, and they'll tell you whatever. Teacher, plumber, road sweeper, doesn't matter. Just be interested in it, listen to them, and there's a little trick I did kind of learn. I've done an NLP course as well, which is neuro-linguistic programming, which is a bit about kind of understanding language and stuff. But one of those things is kind of to do the opposite. So if if it's a job where you think it's a bit of a tough job, like teaching, looking after kids. Actually, you're a nurse, aren't you, Jackie?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. So, some people have this idea of nursing that it's a really, that it can be a really tough job, but it's really rewarding. So you have to go in there and say, oh, how wonderful and how rewarding that must be. And their mind instantly flips to do, actually, do you know what? I work 10-hour shifts, night shifts, and I'm cleaning shit up all day, or this, that, and the other. So by being positive, they actually come out with a bit of a negative. And from that negative, you can then go get in there and say something along those lines. What I do, I used to do something like that. Now I've found this, and I'm moving towards getting out of this business. I'm building an income and a business on the back of it. So very much a little bit of reverse psychology sometimes. But simply, if you ask me what they do and they tell you, they'll ask you what you do. And it's your perfect opportunity just to say, I've been a nurse for 30 years or something, isn't it? You've been a nurse for a long time, I think.
Yeah, 38.
38 years, exactly. You should have the Medal of Honor and the Victoria Cross by now. But, but you just flip it around and say, but, you can use your personal senses, but, I'm not as young as I used to be. I'm not, enjoying the hours. I'll get a good pension, but the younger generation's pension's not as good as yours is going to be. You can turn and say, I wanted more from life. I want to fly helicopters. I want to drive an Aston Martin. And being a nurse, as much as I love it, will never give me that lifestyle. So I've started doing something that will. And, would you be interested in hearing more? And then it's up to them. They can either say yes or no, simple as that. And if it's no, that's great. Just ask if you can check back in with them, get details, whatever, if it's a stranger or someone you know. If not, then, it's a no, but you need no's. I don't know, I'm not really sure what the Beachbody numbers are, but the numbers in my previous business were roughly, for every 10 people you speak to, 4 would look at becoming a customer, and between 1 and 2 would join the business. And out of that, you'd need kind of 4 people in the business to produce 1 good person in the business, one real person who's working the business hard. So you need to speak to kind of 40 people to find kind of 1 person who will work the business hard. And I don't know if Beachbody is a bit different. I've not seen numbers, and obviously it's quite new in the UK, and it's a slightly different market over here. But that's something you got to bear in mind. You've got to talk to a lot of people to get that 1 diamond. So, so don't be afraid of the no's. Simple as that. Don't be afraid of the no's.
I think that's a really good point, though, Carl. I think that, for a lot of us, we're struggling with maybe confidence in talking about it. A lot of people are doing things for different reasons, but I think regardless, we're all in this because we want to help other people improve their lives, because we truly believe that Beachbody has improved ours. For however long each of us have been involved in Beachbody products or using Beachbody products. So I think that that's really important, isn't it? Is that we are doing this because we truly believe in the company and the vision and the mission. And we've got a shared vision and mission, and that's what we're doing it. Yes, some of us are in it to get out of work really quickly. Some of us are in it for a bit of a longer run, but I think that it's about hitting the numbers and improving your confidence. And Scotty always talks about knocking on doors, and that gave him the confidence of being all right with the rejection. So that's, and you're right, that 5-second rule book, I think it's changed a number of people's lives. I've got people telling me to bog off now over it, because they're like, no, I don't want to use your 5-second rule that you keep. It's doing, because they know it works. Funny.
So there's another book called The Slight Edge, which is something I sort of live by. And you make good decisions, you make a few bad decisions, but as long as you make more good decisions than bad ones, you're moving in the right direction.
And
then when it's something you don't want to do, just 5-second rule. There's a whole book. It's that thick a book, and basically it's just saying count from 5 to 1 and do it. That's the essence of this book. It's a whole story. Mel Robbins was broke on her ass and all sorts. Couldn't get out of bed. I think she stayed in bed for three days or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, she's awesome.
So she's actually guest speaker at the conference that I'll go to with my other half in April. It'd be really
amazing at the Beachbody conference. Have you listened to it, Carl?
Not which one?
On YouTube. She was at the Beachbody Leadership Conference.
Okay, I've not seen her on that one.
I posted up the link somewhere. I'll see if I can find it and send it to you. It was awesome. She was cracking. Can I just recap on a couple of things, because there was a couple of points that you made that I think were really, really like kind of my takeaway points. And I think that one of the things, I just said that some of us are, probably most of us are struggling with confidence. I've got a real negative kind of mindset when it comes to sales, and I was talking to Chris about that today, and kind of because I used to be in sales on some of the ththings that's important for me, so I'm really struggling with that and feel like I'm selling when actually I'm not.
100%.
But it was what you said about, it's about it, because it's the compound effect, and just having 5 people who want to become coaches, you teach them and they will teach 5 others. Keeping it that simple. And we're all just going like, oh my god, we're trying to contact. I think for me, my take home from this is I need to look at, right, who in my direct close circle do I think that would benefit from doing this type of, whether it's it's being a product of the product and all that sort of stuff, and having those 5 people, and you're right, working with them, and okay, they might say no, and then putting them aside and having your 5 and taking that forward. And I can't remember who said this, so that's kind of for the coaching side, and thinking of it as just all you need is 5 coaches, because you're right, there's no way. I don't know how Scotty deals with so many of us. Like, it must blow his mind trying to
he doesn't really at the minute. I don't mean that negatively, but he does some sort of mass trainings. He's not now teaching, although we're a new group. The old American group he's well established. He's not really teaching them on a daily basis to teach their people, to teach their people. He teaches the new people. So admittedly, I think he got 19 or 20 in the UK in that instant for the week. So he's teaching us to do it, but the rest you kind of don't forget about it, but they look after themselves.
That's it. And I think that makes it much easier to I guess kind of think about, because you're not thinking about this, you're just thinking about 5 people that directly, and that's the same with customers. So everyone must know 10 people, for example, that want to lose weight, that want to be healthier, that want to get fit, whatever it might be, because not for everyone, it's not always losing weight, and working on those 10 people. And that, I think someone mentioned it on one of the wake up calls, and really that's where, everyone knows those 10 people, and they might say no, you put them aside and you put someone else on that list. And it's keeping it really simple. I massively overcomplicate things, and I let it overwhelm me, and it makes my brain swim. And I think that's kind of and then then I'm
keep it simple, stupid. Kiss.
Absolutely.
That compound effect is the bit that will get somebody who's got half a brain to understand what this business is and why it makes sense and why it's the business of the future, and how it's not sort of easy, but it's simple.
Yeah.
And I said, you just find 5 people. You can find 5 people, and off you go.
Yeah. That's
you know,
it. And 5 people that are your tribe, not other people. Not people.
Exactly. And like I said, it's not about selling product or them selling product. Even just them using the product themselves. Confirm some numbers. Is it about $30 commission roughly on a Shakeology pack?
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah.
So imagine if you've got 749 people, which is the 5 times 5 times 4 deep. If you've got 749 people in your business at $30 a month, all just buying the product for themselves, not selling to anyone else, no retail, nothing. I don't even know what that figure is. I'm going to look at it. What is that? 749 times 3, 750, 1,500, 2,250. That's $22,500 going to the business. Is that right?
I have no idea.
I'm going to work it out very quick.
I don't look at the numbers because it just it makes me go a bit bonky. So I just
yeah, that's $22,470 you would earn if just 749 people were buying Shakeology from you.
If you were to get that deep, yeah,
every month. That's it. Sounds simple. And you were just saying about writing your list down. Yeah, have a written list of your names list.
Yeah.
A chicken list. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and call someone. Make more calls than you do text and things, because actually calling actually still is better. And one thing you just said now, people say no, take them off your list. No. It takes an average of 7 exposures to anything to get someone to listen to you.
Yeah.
So any no is just a no for now. The circumstances aren't quite right.
Sorry, that's what I meant.
Go back to them in.
Never know, never know, but no for now. They no go. Now. I wouldn't focus on if that.
No. But you come back to them in 6 months' time and just catch up with them like, how's your circumstances changed? Because it is a business, and as much as we also want to help everyone, we want helicopter lessons and Aston Martins and bigger houses and this stuff. So money is still one of the key drivers. And,
absolutely, yeah.
And that's what you're selling to somebody else, is that they can earn, or only by taking some nutrition once a day. Boom. And dancing some more.
Dancing, having our vision boards.
Yeah.
Consistent, meditating.
Oh, I love a bit of meditating. That just changes your life. That just changes your life. Oh, crazy. Read more.
Actually,
I did a speed reading course. If I sit down and do it properly, I can read. I started off, I can't remember the numbers now. 210 words a minute, I think, was it?
Wow.
I tripled my speed, my reading speed in a few hours.
Does anything go in?
Yes. My retention rate went from about 90% down to about 82%, I think it was.
Okay.
So, and 75% of anything you read is waffle, which is why your eyes take so long to get between it. In fact, you spend longer looking between the space between words than you do the words, which is why people who can really speed read would just look at that page, scan it over, and the information goes in.
Yeah. We all need to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'd like to develop a photographic memory. That would be better.
By the house home, I didn't call her back.
Great. Oops. Oh,
Any prayers? That'd be great.
Well, thank you for your time. I've got an idea over what I'd like for the next call. But if anyone has any other ideas, I mean, I'm only doing this and recording it just to help out. But if anyone else wants to take over, by all means, that's okay with me. But
no, you're great. You do it.
I was wondering whether what might be nice is to have someone, maybe someone from Scotty's, maybe one of Scotty's diamonds, or it doesn't even need to be a diamond, but someone that's come into the business that purely came in because they really, really enjoyed using the products and then has managed to build a really good business? Like, I'd be quite interested in knowing, you know, because that's kind of what I'm not money motivated. I'm going to just put it out there that I'm really not money motivated. Not when it's, you know, although I do want to, you know, eventually, you know, be able to leave my job. Actually, you know, I'm really keen on helping people, so it'll be really interesting to find and get some perspectives of people that have kind of come from it from that stance as well. So cool. All right, I will stop recording, but thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Carl. It's been really good to see you, and thank you for sharing all the information. And I'll post this call up as soon as we get off, and it has to transpose and whatnot. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Lovely to see you all.
See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.